Today is Friday, July the 14th, 2023, and welcome to episode 52 of Rural Reliance with the Canny Couple.
I'm Aaron.
And I'm Julia, and we're a small homestead family in rural Southwest Virginia that work every single day on being more self-reliant. And today is episode number 52.
Yes, we've been doing this consistently now for a year.
Mm-hmm.
This is our 52nd episode, and as you know, this is a weekly podcast that we put out for Reliance with the Canny Couple. And also, we have now, as of two weeks ago now, we've started producing this one on YouTube if you like a video version instead of audio.
Yes. And so we're official, 1 year in. We're podcasters, I guess, at this point.
I did read a stat the other day that said, most podcasts don't last over a year.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Well.
And we have done it with it's just us. We haven't actually even started into being on other people's podcasts or having other people on our podcast. We're still doing everything internally still.
Yes. And so we've had almost 950 listens.
As of earlier this morning, we were 949, so I say at the moment we did hit 950.
Which is wonderful. We so appreciate everybody listening.
And and that's just what it's actually recording through, it's Spotify for podcasters now. And I've heard a lot of people say that the statistics on it are not as good on some others. So we might even be more than that. And if you do count our YouTube ones, we're over that from the past couple of episodes.
So we appreciate you. We appreciate your support.
Yes.
And our goal with the podcast is still the same. We still hope to provide value and inspiration through the podcast and all of our other content.
Yeah. I mean, it's something we enjoy.
We do.
And it as you'll hear us talk about a lot later, it keeps us on track.
It does. It keeps us honest. But it is something that we do enjoy. This is kind of an easy way for it. Like for me, I'm very introverted. This is an easier way for me to talk about the podcast. I'm probably a scale higher than Aaron. Or two. But it is a really good way for us to talk about what we do, what we're learning, what we have learned through our journey, and hopefully help new homesteaders not make the same mistakes we have made.
Right. Homesteaders or people from a frugality standpoint.
Absolutely. From saving money, maybe give you an idea and inspiration, like just something just clicks like, ooh, well, I can't do it that way, but I can take it and do it this way. I do that all the time. That is like my things. I listen and watch other people just to get a spark, something out there. I might not use it or do it the same way they do.
Right.
And most of the time I do not, because a lot of people live very free lives. Like it's just not my lifestyle, not what I choose to do.
Yeah. But
the way I look at it and do it, I can apply it to how I do everyday life.
So
it's
true.
Easy way of saying it. So let's reintroduce ourselves.
Yeah, if you haven't tuned into our very first episode of the podcast, I know we have a lot of new listeners probably since then. Let's give you our story of who we are, what we are trying to accomplish, and, just some crazy facts, I guess, about us.
You start.
So I guess my interest in homesteading is more of the old-timey ways.
It is. He is very old-fashioned. He does not... I was actually just thinking about this week. Aaron is very laissez-faire when it comes to the homestead. It's very put it in the ground, hands off. He doesn't like to prune. He doesn't like to cut. He doesn't like to do any of the stuff you see a lot of real intense home growers do. He's very much, I've put it in the ground, let God do his thing, let nature take its course. It's what Mother Nature does, and hands off. Like I mentioned the word pruning around blueberry bushes. I have since I've met him. Like there's dead branches, we gotta cut them out. And he can't, this is what I get.
Yes, I know we need to, but it's not natural.
And so he's very much old way, old school.
Yeah.
Going with homestead.
Yes. And I like a lot of my growing up, I was around gardens. I was around two individuals, my grandmother and another one, three actually, that all were living around the Great Depression time. So they were very young then. So saw a lot of frugality ways as well. If you've ever seen the meme where it shows all the old tub butters and saying, "I wonder what's in this one," in the fridge. That's what I was used to seeing. Yeah. From frugality standpoint, I wasn't frugal as I could have been. I was probably a bad spender until I met Julia. Well, not. I was working on becoming frugal at that point. It was more of it. Really, I saw some new ways to be more frugal with her.
For me, homesteading. I always liked to garden. My family always put out a small garden. My papa, I gardened with him growing up. I remember that. But we always had something small. It wasn't huge, and that was about as far as it ever went. I know my grandfather wasn't bigger into homesteading. He had a farm. He had horses. He had chickens. At one point in time, I remember being chased by the baby rooster. I just it sticks in my head. Going out to hang out my jeans after washed them in the sink and that. But and just homesteading sort of stuck with me. It wasn't something I thought I would want to do getting married to Aaron. I did not think I wanted to be a homesteader. I actually thought, just save money. But as we sort of started growing our life together, it sort of became apparent this was what we wanted. We kind of did want to grow our own food. We wanted to really be more natural, closer to nature, all of these things. It's more natural living. And it didn't really click. It didn't really take... We started, but we had a lot of failures at first. And it really clicked for us in 2020.
Yeah.
It really clicked. I mean, we really started hitting it really hard. And from frugality standpoint, I've always... my family would call me cheap, but I've always wanted to save money. It's always been part of me. I don't like to spend money, except for where I need to spend money. But for the most part, I like to save money where I can, and it kind of use it to enrich our life. That's the goal. That's the purpose. I don't like to spend money where I don't have to. Story: me buying tennis shoes. My mom said I almost cried at the cash register. I probably almost did have spent $80 on tennis shoes. And now that would be considered cheap. $80 on tennis.
I ain't spending no $80
He's not spending $80 on tennis shoes. Not even really good ones. But it was, it's just who I am. I can't. Frugality is just in my bones. It really is. And applying that to our homestead has really been an important goal for us.
Yeah. And I guess you could say the best way to describe us is a frugality homestead or frugal homestead, something along those lines. We do homesteading, we do money saving, we have tips and tricks we always do from that. If you turn into our podcast, for our monthly frugal tactics, you always hear, what we're trying to do to save money, be more frugal. Some tips and tricks always on that.
Yeah, we really try to focus on what we can do to save money without really taking away from our life, still having the life that we want to have, while also saving money. But again, as you're going to hear, we don't live like other people do. So a lot of people would look at how we live every day and be like, there's no way I could do this. And that's okay. Yeah. We don't expect anybody else to live like us. We really don't. It's more of we like a simple life. Very simple. Very simple. I mean, no shows. There's no going out on weekends and partying. We are seriously at home at 7 o'clock every night. We have to be.
Yep.
Like, and before we might have been out a little bit after.
9 maybe.
Not like that's the limit. Sometimes we would go see a movie. But that was rare once we got married and in the daily grind, it became very rare. Like, we don't look like it, but we're in our 80s.
Yeah.
If that's just it.
Yep.
We don't look like it, but we are grandma and grandpa sitting on the rocking chair in the evenings, ready to go to bed at, before the chickens.
Oh, the sun's gone down. I think it's time to go to bed now.
That's about it.
Yeah.
So, that's us.
Definitely. I mean, we try to, we're trying to learn constantly, though, and improve our homestead, improve our frugality ways. And we try to pass this information along to you through our YouTube, through our podcast, and any other forms of social media that you might follow us on.
Yep. And again, our goal isn't to get you to live the way we do.
No.
Our goal is to inspire you to be creative, to think outside the box. How can I save money like this? How can I get out of debt faster? How can I take this idea, this concept, and apply it to my own life to save money?
Yep.
Or to better my homestead? Or wait, why aren't my zucchini growing like that? Like, this first jar of zucchini are growing like this, and I'm tickled. They're half my size. Like, I'm tickled. They're like 4 feet tall. I'm ecstatic. I've already got a refrigerator full. So, I mean, that's the goal here, is to inspire and, really bring value to other people, and that's what we want to do. So, what have we learned this year?
We ain't going to meet our goals.
We are not going to meet our goals. We are way too lofty on goals. We set way too high standards on ourselves.
Well, if the home remodel had finished in March instead of June, we might have been able to meet some of our goals quicker.
Yeah, I mean, that hurt us this year.
It truly put us in a bind.
Where we live out in a rural area, we've talked about this before. Getting material to our house is extremely difficult. We either have to have somebody truck it in, or we have to make sure it fits in a vehicle that we have. We have certain rules we have to follow in the state that we live in. You can't have it hanging out a certain length. Just a whole bunch of different things you have to think about. And we were very fortunate that the contractors were willing to work with us, meet us, but Aaron was constantly at the hardware store.
Usually 3 mornings.
When they were working.
3 mornings, and usually at least 1 to 2 evenings I had to make trips to the hardware
because
store.
They would say, we need all this stuff. We'd have to order it online, and he'd go pick it up. And every weekend. Every weekend
had to go to the hardware store too.
Every weekend we were going to the we know Home Depot, and like Aaron can get everywhere.
Hey, I know what aisle this is.
So we're constantly going, constantly getting stuff, and it never ended for us. Yeah. And I mean, now we're at the point where we're ready to unpack our life because it's been packed up for over a year.
Yeah, definitely. And we expected to be unpacked by now and working on some of these projects instead of unpacking at this time of the year with the harvest season coming around.
Yes, that's the problem. The harvest season's coming. We see it. We're in it. We're in it. We're in the zucchini. We're about into cucumbers, so I will need to make relishes and things like that.
Tomatoes, I've never seen so many blooms on them in my life.
I mean, we are going to have so much food coming in that we're going to have to put away, and I'm in the middle of unpacking and building and putting things together, and it's just really made us reevaluate, like, what is the goal? And the goal right now for us is to put up the harvest that we've worked hard to grow. We're getting, like, tremendous growth and green. Like, I've never seen, knock on wood, my garden looks so green.
Yeah. I mean, our main focus right now is food production and paying off debt.
Yes, those are like two things we are every single day.
Besides that, everything else is a back burner at the moment.
Absolutely. Now, we might get the lily pad started or done because that plan we kind of been watching, we found a really simple plan for that. It won't be as hard to do if we follow this plan. It'll be a pretty easy setup with what we saw.
And for people who don't know, the lily pad's the duck area.
The duck area, yeah. If it doesn't work for ducks, we'll use it for something else. What'll be harder for that is going to be digging for the pond. That's going to be the hard part there because we do kind of want it submerged. So if it does freeze, the ground will kind of help keep it warm. Because we have found a lot of success in this. If we keep it covered, have it in sand and in the ground, the water does not tend to freeze as bad.
Right.
In our area, we have found a lot of luck with this. I do not think we're going to get the outdoor shower area done. Not this year. It was a priority. It is still super high on our list.
It is, but it's something we can work on over the winter to have ready for next spring.
There was no way we could work on this area while they were working because they needed access. It was just where it's going is they needed to have access to that area.
Right.
And we are also trying to stay out of everybody's way.
Yeah.
So goals, we've really got to reevaluate how we set these up and really focus on what's going on right now, what we know is coming in the future, and really take that into consideration. So I don't think we did that this time. I think we knew that the remodel was going to be hard.
We just didn't realize how time consuming it would be.
No. I mean, and it was like we just like a couple weeks ago, we were able to not walk in our house with shoes on.
Right.
This was
first time in 6 months.
Yes, no shoes in the house. Like we were ecstatic about not having to walk with shoes on. It was so happy because we had just like little areas in the baby's room where we made sure the floor was really clean, so everybody was taken care of. But I mean, it was so nice.
It was.
I say the next thing that we've learned is we do live a very simple life. I mean, extremely, like almost to the point where I would say we're boring.
Most people would. I mean, honestly, we work, we are producing content, and we're homesteading, gardening. And besides that is
the baby.
I mean, that's it.
She's the most interesting thing about us.
Yeah, she's the most sociable one too.
She's our little extrovert. We don't know how we had an extrovert, but we love our simple life.
Yes, definitely.
We wouldn't change this for anything in the world. I'm not moving somewhere. I hear about all these classes and things from people I know. Like, I'm going to do this class, and I'm like, sounds lovely, but I still don't think that would tempt me to move. Like, it wouldn't tempt me to go away from where we are. No, I mean, would I love to be able to go and walk to places and still have what I have? Sure, but that's not going to happen. I mean, no, that's not going to happen. We have to drive 20, 30 minutes to get to civilization. Most people wouldn't even consider it civilization. There's a Dollar General.
Yeah, if you watch Southern Frugal Mama, it's like, oh, there's a Dollar General. There's a Dollar General. There's a Dollar General.
Next thing is we have learned that frugality is ingrained in our very core and being. Like, we did not realize how much saving money was a part of who we are.
Yeah, I mean, it's really started to show even more since we've started doing the podcast and YouTube. We knew
we were money savers. Like, Erin was told by my parents, like, listen, the girl don't like to spend money.
Yeah.
They're like, she does not like to spend money. She's very cost effective. Even getting married, I'm buying my flowers on clearance. and all this. I mean, bought as much as I could on clearance for our colors. That's how I picked my colors. What flowers are on clearance right now? And it just worked for us. But
that might be a good one for you too, in future podcast wise, how to do a cheap wedding.
But for us, being frugal is just so important. It just really is. It's just who we are, and it's a part of our everyday lifestyle.
Yeah.
Now, I would say we still do spend money, but we spend on investments. That's what we call them.
Mm-hmm.
They're investments in our homestead. They're investments in ourselves. They're investments in our lives. I don't have the time to sweep and mop my floor every few days. It's so time consuming to sweep the whole house and then to go through and mop it. I'm taking 3 times the amount of time I need to take if I were to get a vacuum mop that does it for me all in one swipe. To me, that's an investment. I can take that extra 30-40 minutes that I'm going to save, and I can apply that somewhere else on the homestead. I can apply that to canning. I can apply that to the garden, to weeding, and all of these other things that are just as important to us as keeping a clean home.
Yeah.
So that's how we look at spending money.
Right. And we have budgets.
We do.
If you haven't heard us talk about before, we budget every penny we spend.
And another part of this is we talk about every single penny.
Yes.
We do not spend money
without the other one knowing.
Yes, we do not. We do have money that is ours. That's birthday money that we can spend on whatever that other person wants.
Yep.
Whatever that other person wants. I will say I tend to have more money than somebody else. Somebody tends to owe the bank occasionally.
Him radio stuff. That's all I gotta say.
So somebody tends to owe the bank sometimes, but even then we discuss those purchases. Like I just bought a sewing cabinet.
Yeah.
I had changed my mind on this one because it was so expensive, but Prime Day it went on sale. I was like, this is the one I kind of wanted. And it has a huge table that comes with it. This really does make the most sense for us. And he's like, yeah, I think you need to get this one. So we talk about every dollar. And we have since we first started and decided we were going down this path together.
Yep.
Every dollar. We were completely honest with each other. We knew everything about the other one, every debt, everything.
Yeah, and this helped us get out of debt early on. The debt we're in now is because of the home loan for a house remodel, which we are trying to pay off within the next year.
We are being extremely aggressive.
We're being extremely aggressive on this one to be back debt-free again.
We knew that we probably needed to get the house done sooner rather than later.
Yes.
Because we could, everybody seeing the writing on the wall.
Interest rates, we got in before all that happened.
Before all of that happened, and trying to nail down a contractor because either things were going to crash and we couldn't get anybody, or things were going to crash and we couldn't get materials or things. And we knew that the house had to be done sooner rather than later. It was okay to share an office with the baby when she was a baby. She's past that point. She really needed her space and I needed mine. And also, I had lived with the carpet for long enough. But, it was just frugality is us. And paying off debt and getting debt-free as soon as possible. And we know a lot of people would disagree with this. Some people think it's okay. And that's okay. Yeah. That's perfectly fine. We are just strongly in the camp of no debt no matter what. Yes. Like, we want it off. Like, we do not want any debt.
Because any dollar you're not spending toward debt equals one you can place somewhere else.
You can invest in yourself. You can invest in your homestead. You can build out your infrastructure on your homestead. All of this. And that would be another thing I'd say we learned. We really learned what infrastructure we want on the homestead. Yeah. We have went back and forth. That is something that this podcast has really opened up for us and made us really think about and come to terms with, because we never... Aaron put trees everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. everywhere.
Hey, here's like a 10-foot section. Trees going here.
Yep. So, while it's a blessing in the fact that when they start to produce food, we'll have food production there, it is also a bit of a struggle because now we're struggling to figure out where we need to put infrastructure on our property. Yeah. We did get a few blessings in the fact that we did leave like a swatch where we're trying to decide what's going to go there. We'd originally thought swells and trees, but we're rethinking that again too.
Yeah, and we had talked about putting up a little cabin-like thing there at one time too. We've changed minds on that to go to the maybe even a hoop house.
Yep, a high tunnel, something like that. Right there, because it is relatively flat. It's close to the house. We could set up watering catchment systems there, and it's actually in a really good spot. It's nice and long, and it would be a really good spot for one. So we've learned infrastructure is very, very important. And if you are starting off homesteading, think about what you want
and where you want it.
And where you want it. Don't do anything permanent.
Because you need to have that list down so you can determine, okay, I need this in zone 1, this in zone 2, this can go anywhere, etc.
Yes. And definitely think about that because we thought, we originally thought putting a high tunnel on another piece of our property, but it's not, we wouldn't have access to see it. It would be kind of in a hole. We wouldn't have that, everyday touch. This one, I would say we probably see it every day, but it's surrounded by our property. Like the other one's surrounded by our property, but it would just be hard to see where it would be located.
It would be easier for people to get into it without us seeing.
Or a bear.
Or deer.
Something ripping into it, jumping through it, whatever, tearing it up. That's a real possibility. So, where are we now?
We're trying to, like I said, to build up the homestead where we want to be. We're trying to get debt free and finish up our final few infrastructure things. Won't be as many infrastructure things in the future either, which, it saves money as well.
Yes.
And at the same time, it gives us maybe places around the house for aquaponics or hydroponics as well that we'll want to put in to, maybe provide other types of food.
I would love fish. We do like seafood. We love fish. So we've went back and forth on this, and part of the problem is we're limited, but Aaron's constantly doing research here, and this is way more him. I can kind of design what it's going to look like and how we'll build the place, but
I've got a few ideas lately, so
but yes, we're really focused on frugality, food production. Those are our main two things right now. Like we mentioned earlier, that's what our primary focus is on the homestead at the moment.
From a frugality perspective, it has required some investment as well. But at the same time, where we were frugal about about taking our own trash, about saving stuff from it and not having that extra cost, about running and getting items and not having as many deliveries, that gave us some of this extra money available to invest in the frugality perspective from solar.
Yeah, well, that's also prepping. It also, the house remodel, a lot of people say, well, you're so frugal. Well, our house really needed to be updated to help suit our frugal lifestyle. Yes. We had incredibly old windows. They had to be updated. Like, this was non-negotiable. Like, those windows had to be
single pane from the early 80s.
Like, we really realized when it got down below zero just how bad our windows were.
Yep.
And also installing all the ceiling fans. Might not seem like a big change, taking down a little bit of a wall and installing a ceiling fan, but I can tell you now, it has completely been game-changing for us.
And for the people who say that they wouldn't have any fans in their house, if you're listening, you know who I'm talking to, then, it helps us stay cool.
It does. We wouldn't change them for anything. And they're not bad. And like, we keep ours running all the time. Like, we don't ever turn them off. We turn them down to low when we go to bed, but that constant airflow.
Right now, where it's so hot in the summer.
Yeah.
Yes.
If it were a little bit cooler, we would turn them off at night. But it does really keep that airflow, and it does help make you feel not nearly so warm.
Right.
So, where are we planning to go? Sky's the limit.
Yes, we have many hopes and dreams, I guess you could say. We have, the infrastructure that we talked about. We got the lily pad that we've got to get in. We've got to work on the cold frames.
Which that's a this year project. So like, that's an easy...
Yeah, and then high tunnel, not high tunnel.
Trying to decide that.
And then also... from a longer term perspective, the aquaponics, hydroponics, whatever we're doing there, getting that in. Meat birds, yes. And you never know, maybe some turkeys in the future as well.
That's a real possibility. We do, poultry is what we eat. Yep. Like, if you noticed our cooking videos, it's a lot of chicken. That's because we do eat a lot of chicken.
A lot of chicken.
We love chicken. It is one of our absolute favorites. So it does not make sense for us to raise a pig or raise a cat. Aaron does not. He does not do it. Like, I made a meal with ham, and he's giving me the ham because he just does not do it. He will eat it smoked.
Oh yeah.
And barbecue. He loves it smoked. He loves it smoked, but it's covered in a sauce. That is why he likes barbecue, because he can take the meat and cover it in sauce. Now, if you just handed him the meat, he would be like, "Can I have coleslaw? And here, you eat the meat." That's what it would be if you just gave him smoked meat. But it's the sauce. That's why he likes barbecue. Our goal is to, keep sharing our journey.
Yes.
What we learn, where we fail, because we fail.
Right. And we want to bring as much information, valuable information to you all. I'm sure we will think of other ways to get content out. Like right now, we try to put out 2 YouTube videos a week and 2 podcasts a week. So only one's on YouTube, and that's this one, the Reliance with the Canny Couple. Julie doesn't want to do one by herself. You can describe your other podcast as well.
Yeah, Farm Wife Sexy Life. It is just where ladies, I just want to point out ladies and the struggles we face on the homestead, the differences, and just how we kind of deal with it, because we are sort of the backbone to the homestead. The husband, the family members might be the arms and legs, but a lot of times it's the ladies. It is. We are the ones who handle the food preservations, handle the gardens, handle a lot of the things that need to happen on the homestead, manage the homestead, manage the house, manage the kids. And this is sort of just a podcast to bring awareness.
Yeah, and every once in a while you'll see some shorts from us as well on various platforms. We really need to get better at getting some of the short content out for everyone. So something we are constantly thinking of.
And we're going to be realistic. We're going to be real. Like, if I tell you, straight up, if I'm telling you we're eating this meal for a week, we are seriously going to eat this meal for a week. That's not a lie.
Not a lie.
It is not a lie. I don't know.
Maybe some reason it went through it quicker and we ate it in 5 days instead of 6.
I just got my glass meal prep containers because they were on sale for really cheap for Prime Day. Pure glass, and I'm like so excited because that will help make it so much better. It's so much easier.
Don't have to worry about that then.
So life changing. Didn't want plastic because it's what we used before. I was really trying to get away from cooking in plastic or heating in plastic. I went in glass, and We found them, and they were a really good price, like really good. I was able to get all of them for less than what I would have paid if I'd have bought them off sale.
Yeah.
And focus on being frugal homesteaders. I mean, that's the main thing here. I think it's probably where our primary focus is going to be. Is really Canny is being wise, is smart. Part of that is just not. Mm-hmm. That's how we are as a couple. We try to really be wise as a couple, and that's with every aspect of our life. With our homestead, we always want to work harder, not smarter, and we also want our money to work for us too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way I can say it.
And you never know what the future lies. As other changes as well. There might be big ones in the future that change this whole aspect of how we get content out.
Yep. I mean, we don't know what the future holds for us, but we are looking forward to it. We're looking forward to sharing it. I can't promise you're going to like every single thing we have to say.
No, I mean, we probably have, everything talks about getting in your specific genre. Well, ours is really two. It's the frugality
and the homesteading.
So
we're trying to find a way to combine them.
Yes, I know we might have a lot more homesteaders that listen to certain things and a lot more frugality people that listen to other things. But we're trying to combine this together and, show you the benefits of both together. How it can enrich your home life, how to produce your own food from a gardening perspective, and save money by producing your own food.
And we also like to look at it as we are doing all of these things with the thought that we are getting older.
Yeah.
We are not going to be in our 30s forever.
Not much longer. Especially me.
I've still got a few years. I'm still on the sunny side of 40. So a few years. But we are always looking at how we set up our homestead, how we set up anything that we do on our homestead, for the fact that eventually it's just going to be me and him. And we need to be able to manage it when we're in our 60s, when we're in our 70s, and be able to do it and function and still give us the life that we want, and still do the things that we want. And that might mean maybe a couple years from now we're switching up our garden and doing all raised beds. I mean, we might actually end up having to go that route with taller beds, thinking of the future, and start adding those in a few beds at a time here and there, instead of trying to do it like half now and half next year. Just to okay, well, this part of the garden is going to become a raised bed area. This row of the garden is going to become a raised bed area. Thinking of the future and planning for the future, because we are realistic.
Yeah.
We're not going to sugarcoat anything.
No.
We are not sugarcoaters, if that's what you're looking for. The fluffy stuff. You will not get that from me.
You get the honest truth from both of us. Some people at work might say I am too honest sometimes.
Yeah. But we are, that's just who we are. We're just real, and that's what we continue to hope. That's what we hope to continue to provide for you. Realistic, frugal homesteading might not work for you, and we get it. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But we don't want everybody to live like we do. Like I've said this earlier, we want to inspire you.
Mm-hmm.
We want to be that makes it worth it for us.
Yes, totally agree.
Any final thoughts for your episode 52?
We hope that we're able to continuously provide some sort of value and build a community up so you can share, thoughts, ideas from homesteading from a frugality perspective. Hopefully this is something you're interested in, and, you want to help contribute to help other people as well. And hopefully in the future as well, we'll start, maybe trying to get on a few other people's podcasts to, talk about the frugality homestead, about how it can be valuable to you.
Absolutely. And I guess for me, I'm proud of us for getting here. to episode
Yes.
52. We've stuck with it. We've done it. We've been consistent. We've not been like, we like to be more ahead, but we, every week we've tried to give something out there, a piece of ourselves. It might not be a piece anybody wants. It might not be advice somebody wants to hear, but, or it might be something somebody doesn't consider advice, but we do try to put that out there every single week and be consistent.
Yeah, and we're still learning on producing our content for
Yes.
you all, from equipment to setup and everything like that. So hopefully
You'll be patient
you'll
with
be
us.
patient with us as we grow into how to do a lot of it.
Yes, so we're still working out the kinks and trying to figure out our setup and everything.
Yes. If you got any comments, questions, anything you want to hear in a future episode, send it to thecannycouple@yahoo.com. Make sure you go over and check out our link tree, or if you're on YouTube, go down below in the description and click on it, and it will bring you to all of our other social media sites where we post content throughout the week.
And as always, thank you for joining us on Rural Reliance with Canny Couple, where we work hard, live simple, and enjoy life. Have a wonderful day.